Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and this is my best friend.
This is Gangrel. Welcome to WhatCulture Pensacon 2020 edition. We're doing a little fanging and banging and a shout out to Andy Murray. Want some? Get some. Bad enough, take some.
And thank you so much to Twitter user Jake the Hawkeye for sending that gem in. You, sir, are a diamond.
What a legend Gangrel is. Love him.
Love to see it.
He's going to be hosting this one day.
He is, man.
Don't forget, if you want to download the news as a podcast match roundabout, you can do so by searching for WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. But coming up today, the real reason Chris Jericho lost the AEW World Championship on Saturday.
WWE have been accused of false advertising over a house show.
A WWE star was backstage at AEW Revolution.
I'm going to tell you all about WWE's original plans for Roman Reigns and the Fiend at WrestleMania.
And the latest on the future of Awesome Kong. This is the news.
But we are going to kick things off by starting at the only place, really, to start today. Matt Hardy
Wonderful!
has left WWE. He's gone. He's a free agent, and he broke the news on his own YouTube channel, the Matt Hardy Brand YouTube channel. A video last night. It was entitled Thoughts from the Throne 26. He's sitting on his throne. He's talking about his future, his wrestling future. He teased this in advance. He was on Twitter saying, hey, I'm going to make this big announcement at midnight. He uploaded it, and here's what he had to say. I have decided to let my contract with WWE expire. I am going to become a free agent, but that's not saying I'm never going to return to WWE, so leaving the door open for something in the future. However, he does go on to say that him and the company just had a big difference on how they see him, what they wanted to do with him in his last few years in the business. They didn't really agree on creative matters and what Matt wanted to do in the company. So it was a parting of the ways. He's off. He's going to try something new. He's going to try something fresh. That contract obviously expired on March 1st at midnight. No word on whether or not he has a no-compete. If he doesn't, it's conceivable that he could show up somewhere immediately. But either way, the 45-year-old is cut loose. He's into the wild finally. After months of speculation, it's official.
I think this is probably best for everyone. Look, we all remember the Hardys' epic return at WrestleMania, and then them sort of pussyfooting around the broken Matt Hardy character. They sort of wanted to commit to it, and then they had Michael Cole go, check out this bollocks, before they did all the stuff with Bray Wyatt. So I can understand that there's some, let's just say, creative differences. We reported, of course, that WWE were attempting to get him to stay by offering some stuff with NXT, but I think this is probably for the best. He can go off, he can do stuff, quite possibly with All Elite Wrestling, but as you say, he's left the door open for potentially returning one day.
Yeah, smart move. He's a good professional, Matt Hardy, isn't he? So he's wise not to burn that bridge on the way out, but he has been honest here and said that I want to do things that they won't necessarily let me do. So good luck to him, whatever the hell he does next. I hope it is tremendous. I personally, selfishly, would love to see some kind of Broken Universe return.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Genuinely, Matt, best of luck in your future endeavours. Right, let's move on now and talk a little bit about the fallout from AEW Revolution, which was, of course, on Saturday night. The main event saw Jon Moxley, or Agent Ambrose, picking up the AEW World Championship, defeating Chris Jericho in just a battering. It was a weird match. There was a bit where Jon Moxley took off his eye patch to reveal that he could actually see, but in the midst of all that, just a load of blood fell out of it. It just had a pool of blood in his eye patch. But if people are wondering why Chris Jericho won the AEW World Championship, because I thought it was quite surprising. There was an argument to be made that Chris Jericho could hold it for a year, and then someone eventually could get built up, someone like a Kenny Omega, maybe even a Darby Allin to take it off him. But instead, he dropped it to Jon Moxley on Saturday, as I said. And Dave Meltzer has speculated as to the reason why that is, because Le Champion, or Le former champion, I suppose you'd call him now.
Yeah.
I don't know what former is in French, sorry. But Jericho is off doing an overseas tour this summer, and this was kind of the reason why he lost the World Championship, because he's still going to be around for quite some time to come in AEW, but they thought that basically by losing it on Saturday, people wouldn't be able to call it happening, because it wouldn't just be like, well, he's clearly off in 2 weeks to do a tour with Fozzy, so he's going to drop the title. So they did it then. That's basically what Wells says. By losing now, everyone wouldn't know that he's losing, but if you wait until the next pay-per-view, the tour that he's doing would already be advertised, so people would assume that he's losing the title at that one. Yeah, good, genuinely makes sense, and a surprising result, but a good one nonetheless.
Yeah, it's smart move, really, right? We're going to see how this affects the bottom line, because Jericho obviously is the biggest star in the whole company. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. But yeah, I mean, like if you held it, say it was going on tour in June or July and you held this match at Double or Nothing, which is in May, people are going to look at that straight away and going, well, he's got Fozzy stuff, so of course he's losing. So props to them here. It's just a really savvy move from the booking team.
There is still a little bit of me though that wishes he retained the title and then at the next pay-per-view just took the World Championship on tour with him whilst he's there, Fozzy just performing on stage wearing the belt. That'd look great. But yes, congratulations to John Moxley.
Absolutely. We're going to move over to WWE for a little second here. We're going to talk about a live event they held in Elmira, New York. Someone correct me, please. On Saturday nights. Now, the advertising for this event featured a main event between The Miz and The Fiend. This was being advertised as recently as Thursday, which was of course the day of Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia. There were TV ads, there were emails, all the material suggested you're going to see The Fiend, he's going to be there, you're going to watch him wrestle The Miz, main event, it's going to be fun. But then they got to that event, and the match just didn't happen. The Fiend was nowhere to be seen. This has, per Dave Meltzer in today's Figure 4 Online Daily Update, attracted all kinds of complaints. WWE fans, people who paid tickets to see The Fiend, got there, found out he wasn't there, and they weren't best pleased, which you can certainly understand. Now, we have to acknowledge the usual WWE disclaimer here, card is subject to change. That's just what it is, that's how the company is, that's what they've always done. At the same time, I don't think that's going to be much consolation for these people who've paid money to see Wyatt, who was being advertised on Thursday, 2 days before the show, and then wasn't there.
Yeah, it's a weird one, this, isn't it? Because it's a live event, like you say, as they always do. Card subject to change, pal. But it's, you know, not like when you go to a live event and then maybe someone gets injured on TV during the week, or there's a storyline that changes or something like that. And also the fact that The Fiend is kind of an attraction in and of itself. Seeing that in person is kind of what driven people to go to that live event. So I can understand people's frustrations, but at the end of the day, this could always just be a storm in a teacup, because WWE can always rely on their age-old excuse.
Yeah, man, like nothing really is going to come of this. It's just a little bit of, you know, backlash and so forth. It makes you wonder if maybe they should think perhaps about not going in so heavily despite the disclaimer. That's a conversation worth having. But I guess at the end of the day, they can just point at this little term here and go, sorry. And in WWE's defense, maybe if you hadn't advertised The Fiend being there, people might have smelt a rat with his World Championship defense. So, there you go.
Who knows? Right, let's talk a little bit more about WWE and AEW, because a major WWE star was backstage at AEW Revolution. But it's not a massive spoiler as to someone transferring to the organisation. It is Renee Young, who you might know is married to John Moxley. She was there, this is according to PW Insider, supporting her other half, of course, who was in that World Championship match. And as much as you might think, uh-oh, well, if WWE gets wind of this, then she could be in real trouble, that's not the case. Even John Moxley has basically said, yeah, she's kind of bulletproof in WWE. And I, for one, would be royally pissed off that they decided to punish her for being there when her husband won the World Championship.
Yeah, that's the thing. Say, like, someone else in the company with less sway, perhaps, than Renee Young, who they recognise as a very talented broadcaster, who they're very lucky to have, I reckon, because she could get a great job for another media company. If it's someone else who doesn't have that level of sway, they're probably in a bit more trouble. But Renee Young, Jim Moxley has said it in the past, she's basically invincible there. She has no fear of reprisal and stuff. Yeah, good for her. It's good that she has the freedom to go to Revolution backstage, to be there for John's big night, winning the belt and all this stuff. I think she tweeted something like, when she was in the building, like just simply goosebumps before the match and stuff, so she was clearly into it. Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's move on again to Jesus, I can't speak today. Let's have malfunction at the junction. Let's move on again to WWE. We're going to talk a little bit about WrestleMania 36. On SmackDown this week, we saw the formation of John Cena versus The Fiend. The Fiend pointed at the WrestleMania sign. And also Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. Obviously, this was something that had been reported last week by Meltzer, who said the plans are changing, they're going to switch up into these matches. The original plan, we were led to believe, was Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. And Meltzer kind of built on this in last week's edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, talking about that original match, how they were going to get to it. He said that the original plan was for The Fiend to run through everyone. He was going to beat everybody, but he was going to be deliberately kept apart from Reigns until WrestleMania, where they get there and presumably have a big old prize fight clashing with this character against this character for the first time, and it would be something else. The theory there would be that, hey, they've not laid hands on each other, anticipation is going to be high. Roman hasn't had a match with Bray as this gimmick before. Very marketable, very sellable, but ultimately they've changed their mind, and now Big Bloody Bill is the spanner in the works.
I'm fascinated to see how fans are going to react to Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, because on paper, Goldberg is beloved by WWE fans, and so it might be problematic in terms of getting Roman Reigns finally cheered for a big championship victory at WrestleMania. But on the other hand, if people are as pissed off as they have been, as myself has been, with part-time people being champion, as much as they tried that with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, who knows, maybe it's going to get him even more support.
I think like the reception Goldberg received on SmackDown this week was pretty interesting because there was a lot of boos in there, right? But that may have just been people letting their frustrations out over the Super Showdown show, which was literally the day before. They may have just been blowing off some steam. They might get over that and Goldberg's reactions might turn around. I'm really looking forward to following how this goes precisely for that reason. And, you know, they're going to try and spear each other out of their own boots for like 5 minutes. I think it's going to be a fun match.
Is it 5 weeks, less than 5 weeks to WrestleMania now?
Yeah, it's great. It's like 34 days or something, man. It's mental.
Right, let's finally talk a little bit about Awesome Kong. Of course, she hasn't been seen on AEW since the 4th of February when she was kicked out of the Night Collective, which isn't a thing anymore, by Dr. Luther and Mel. She was kayfabe injured in storyline. AEW's media accounts reported she was injured, but it could be just a way of writing her off screen because she is currently filming the next season of Glow on Netflix. And Tony Khan talked about Awesome Kong in AEW's media scrum following Revolution on Saturday as well, saying that she's still working as a backstage producer for AEW, but she's taken a break from in-ring competition for the foreseeable future. However, you of course have to take that with a pinch of Tony Khan because he's not going to exactly say, yeah, we've got huge plans for her, and in storyline, she's going to be brought back this week.
Yeah.
Why would you spoil that?
Yeah, exactly. Tony could be working here. At the same time, it would make all the sense in the world if Kong said, hey, I'm not going to wrestle again for a while because she's got 17 years worth of mileage on her frame and stuff. She's been doing this for a long time. Obviously, she's coming off a big break when she came into AEW and so forth. But, you know, wrestling takes a toll. She's, I think, 42 years old. She's got a good career in acting. She's got a producer's role. She's a coach for AEW as well. She's got a lot going on for her. She doesn't need to wrestle anymore. So let's see what happens.
I was lucky enough to be in the building when they brought her in, of course, and got genuine goosebumps. I just want to see Nyla Rose versus Awesome Kong.
Yeah,
and I feel like they may build to that with having Kong, no, that's the wrong one, Nyla Rose run through almost everyone in that women's division. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. Broken Ash starts us off saying, do you think there is a possibility of WWE making Mansoor the WWE champion for a Saudi Arabia show? I mean, he is Taker over there, basically.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Oh, man, it's something I hadn't even considered of, but I think there's a great chance they could do a good chance.
Bare minimum, they could put a mid-card title on him.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, I think that's pretty realistic, right? Maybe an Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
But like, the thing with Mansoor is that he gets these high-profile, well, relatively high-profile matches in Saudi Arabia, but he's not booked on NXT.
No.
Like, he shows up once in a blue moon and he doesn't get anything. So it's like over in the United States when Triple H is booking him, he realizes that this guy's a little bit green and maybe not ready for a regular role. But obviously in Saudi Arabia, it's like hometown guys from Riyadh and all this stuff. We've got to exploit that. So it's a weird little dichotomy they've got here. I think your suggestion is probably a bit like
Yeah.
that.
He should get on NXT and grab a mic this week and be like, yeah, so I beat a former world heavyweight champion on Thursday, so yeah, I think I'll be facing Adam Cole for the NXT Championship, actually. Parth Sathawain gives us our second question of the day, saying, with Jericho losing the world title, what can the Inner Circle do now?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be so interesting because the whole thing about the Inner Circle is that Chris Jericho, it's his Inner Circle, it's his army of meat shields that he's going to hide behind and then pick the bones at the end of the day. He's using them for his own means. That's always been the undercurrent. That's how the group will eventually explode. Now that Jericho's no longer the champion, Le Champion, he doesn't have that same level of sway. So I'm not suggesting that they're going to split up now. I think that's a long way off. But you know, you might see a little bit of a temper tantrum from Jericho this week. His boys are going to rally around him. But you know, you might get a Jake Hager or someone going, hey, I wanted the pay-per-view and this guy's like kind of acting like a baby. Maybe we'll see some hints. But I don't think it's going to collapse just yet. Either way, it's going to be fun, right?
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful to watch. Sammy Guevara is just the best.
Yeah.
And Santana Ortiz selling getting kicked out of ringside in the main event. I can't remember which one it was. One of them legitimately bumped when Aubrey Edwards pointed into the exit, so I love them.
Yeah.
Final question today comes from Eric Vasquez,
Legend.
who says, who would you plan to be the next AEW champion? I feel like there's a wonderful chain that could link together over time with everyone that could be champion taking the title off of a previous person who happens to be an old rival. Either that, I could just keep it given to WWE guys. Just
There he goes, bad faith acting on the news. I think that they're going to go back to Jericho after this Moxley reign. I think they're going to do that in order to transition the belt over to either Hangman Page, who's so over at the moment, or Kenny Omega once that tag run is done. Whichever one of
Darby
those.
Allin?
Maybe Darby Allin. I love Darby Allin. Whichever one of those emerges as the babyface from that eventual split and rivalry. Jericho's a good guy to transition it back over to because he's a draw and all that. And he's a great guy for like a uprising babyface champion to take the strap right off. So, you know, they could. I think they'll find a way to get around that Cody stipulation eventually, and I think Cody will have his turn as well. I think a guy like Pac will have a turn as well. But yeah, for me, the lineage at the moment is Moxley, Jericho, Omega, or Page.
My thoughts: Jericho, Moxley, Pac, Cody, Matt Hardy, and then any other WWE guys they can get, because it's a work.
Orlando Jordan.
AEW is actually owned by Vince McMahon. It's all a work. Yeah. It's all a work.
Darren
and when
Young.
have I ever been wrong about something like that?
Bam Neely.
Right, let's move on to today's, and finally, obviously massive shout out earlier on to Gangrel. And so it seems we've been nice there. Just going to have a massive middle finger to Evil Uno for this tweet from yesterday. Orange Cassidy still sucks. You suck.
Yeah.
You, sir, suck.
Yeah,
and I've seen them trying to recruit Simon Miller for their weird little faction. You can't have him. He's ours.
Yeah, why are they trying to recruit Simon Miller? Simon Miller's not a loser. Doesn't really fit their mold.
You should
there.
try and recruit me, basically, is what you're trying to say there. Right, let us know your thoughts on that, Gangrel, and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dad Wars will be previewing Monday Night Raw a little bit later on. Asuka versus Shayna Baszler. Just hook it to my veins. Plus, let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hubris.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE, as I said. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon. Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, here to let you know we want your live event videos, whether that be something that happened after the cameras stopped rolling, or your reaction to something amazing that went down at the show you were at. Stuff like this.
One of the other sweetest things I've ever seen was just recently when we saw Roman Reigns kick the shit out of cancer and come back on Monday Night Raw.
So make sure you send them to us in all the usual ways. You can tweet them at us, you can send them to us on Facebook, you can email them to us. Hell, if it's your sort of thing, you can stick them on a memory stick and post them to What Culture. But the one thing you need to remember is good, bad. Thanks for watching. Bye.